Hey, it's Mark Podolsky, the Land Geek, with your favorite niche real estate website, www.thelandgeek.com. And on this beautiful day in Phoenix, high today about 70, we've got on the round table, Tate, the Big Papa Litchfield. Tate, how are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to be on the podcast yet again.
We've got Bearland Aaron Williams in the middle of Indiana.
Hello.
Surviving like Ted Kaczynski. Well, that was, you know what? That was just too far. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Let's go Bear Grylls or something. I don't know.
Surviving like Bear Grylls. I don't know why I thought of Ted Kaczynski. But you know what? Zeno likes it. We got the Zen Master. Breathe in the mailing, breathe out the marketing. Zen Master Mike Zeno.
That shows us some animosity still from the low blow he took a few weeks ago. That's what that is.
Yeah, there's some residual anger there coming his way.
It's good. Let it out.
Let it out. I feel better. And then last but not least, you know him, you love him, Scott Todd, ScottTodd.net, landmoto.com, and most importantly, if you're not automating your Facebook and your Craigslist postings, postingdomination.com/The Land Geek. Scott, how are you?
Mark, I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. For those who don't know, Scott is flying like
not right now.
Like an eagle.
Oh, here we go.
Like an
eagle.
Yeah. What? Go ahead, Mark. Go
What
ahead and
kind
tell
of
the
eagle?
story.
I'm not going there. I'll tell you what, if you want to know Scott's new nickname, you got to come to boot camp in April in Vegas. Learn more at thelandgeek.com/bootcamp. And also, today's podcast is sponsored by tlfolio.com, which actually the TL stands for tax lien, not Tate Litchfield, just so everybody knows. If you're new to the podcast, this roundtable podcast, we're going to talk all good things about land investing. We do this every week. And then on, I believe it's Thursdays, we actually interview an expert and try to extract out their success secrets. So let's just start about what it is like doing our very first deal. Tate Litchfield, let's rewind the tape. What was it like? What were the emotions? Let's do like a Barbara Walters, see the tears streaming, really get to the core of it, right? What was the fear of doing your first deal?
That I would mess up, or I think more than that was the fear that the person would give me money, go out and see the property, and then decide that they wanted their money back. That was what scared me the most, the refund. And, I followed up with the person who bought my first property from me, and they were so happy. They loved it. It was exactly what they wanted. And after that experience, it kind of gave me a little boost in confidence. And I thought, you know what? People want what I'm selling. And I guess that was my main fear. I just didn't want somebody to be unhappy with me. I don't know.
What about like the process? Like, was there any fear of, talking to the buyer or even closing with the seller or going through any of that?
My biggest fear was like not necessarily talking with people either on the buy side or the sell side. It was doing the paperwork correctly. I was worried about deed prep. I didn't want to mess up with and put an incorrect legal description or mess up the APNs. And I was so new to it that I thought that there was no workaround for that. And if you did make a mistake, it was game over. It was a little bit later on that I realized, these things can be corrected and there's workarounds for it. And it's okay. I mean, mistakes are inevitable. And I don't know, it seems like with technology and with the softwares that we have, now that's not even a fear of mine anymore. I mean, LG Pass has basically virtually, 100% eliminated that from me. And now it's just a click of a button and I know it's going to be good to go. And so to me, that's one of the biggest, benefits of it. Does that make sense? I guess I was really worried about docs.
No, it totally makes sense. Bearland Aaron, your very first deal. What take us down to the emotional level of it.
Well, there was really a lot of emotions going on. I remember there was a lot of excitement, because we had just started the program and we'd gone through boot camp, and it was probably shortly after that. So there was a lot of kind of being stoked about the whole thing. But then when it came down to it, I guess, actually the docs, like Tate was saying, was kind of that's where the fear started settling in. I wasn't yet on LG Pass, so I had to create my own doc, and it was a matter of, if I say something wrong, is this going to come back on me? Am I going to get, is there any way I can get sued for this? Or, if I'm like just a little bit off on a phrasing on the deed, is this going to all unwind on me? And am I going to have to like give somebody's money back? And what if I don't have the money at the time? And just, there's a lot of things like that were going through my mind. And like Tate said, most of that is, alleviated, especially with LG Pass, but also with the coaching program, because, I had a coach to lean on and, and say, hey, how do I need to do this? Or what should I do with that? And that really helped as well. So, and because I think we had started coaching just before our first sale. So there was a lot of emotions, but there was a lot of excitement too, a lot of good emotion. This isn't all bad emotion. There's a lot of really exciting things and looking toward the future and that sort of thing too.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Yeah, I think that was a huge luxury you had, that you had that Sherpa kind of going with you, where a lot of people don't have that luxury. And so, they're not as excited. They're more on the other end of it, like, uh-oh, what if I mess up? Then what happens? Zen Master Mike, your first deal, what was that like for you?
I think the biggest part about it, the difference, if I were to contrast, I feel like I was really thought I was going to get stuck with the property. Really felt like I was groveling with people to buy, like just begging people to buy it. Like I would like almost any concession. Okay, yeah, just so much in fear that I'm gonna just end up with this piece of land and no one's gonna buy it. And I remember when you get somebody interested, you feel like you would just concede everything, right? Like, okay, you want $500 off? Sure. You want me to pay this? Sure. It's just you just want the deal done. So you feel very you don't feel really like solid on the ground. You don't feel like confident. You don't have that. But so that's huge, because to contrast that to where we all are today, it's, that every property does sell, especially the way that we buy them. So that fear was baseless, right? I mean, there was no basis to that, because they all sell, and we don't need to concede to people. We don't need to, jump through hoops. We can be very firm with our negotiating and very secure in knowing that we have a solid piece of property that's gonna, has value, and we know what the value is. And so I think that's really that just, unsure of like not being able to sell the property, very, and then really not sure if you want to tell anybody what you're doing. Like, not that I'm big on kind of keeping myself to myself, right? But like my parents, like, what are you doing? Oh, with your land investing? What do you mean? You're buying land on the other side of the country? Imagine telling someone, try telling someone, right, in your family that doesn't understand our model. They're all going to think you bought into some big Ponzi scam. Like, you bought land on the other side of the country. It's like, yeah, but there's these guys and they do it really well. And it's like, until you prove it to yourself. And now, of course, my family gets it, how much it's changed our lives, all of us. It's so positive, and they are behind me and very supportive and actually very proud of my successes. So it's a complete turnaround. So there's all that mixed in, right? It's like you kind of like treading, like you dipping your toe in, like, I think I'll be a land investor. Let me see. I'll buy a piece of land. Will somebody buy this, right? And then it's like, no, put your whole foot in. And then you get into, finally you're just jumping in the water, swimming around like, hey, it's not a big deal. There's no sharks in here, right? It's not as scary as I thought it was. So I think that's the big contrast and how I think of my first deal. It's just now that is just, and then maybe talking to people, but now once you realize it's just like talking to your friend. It's just you're having a conversation with another human, someone that you don't have to be very like, so I am here to talk about that land parcel, right? And very like it's just like, hey, we're talking, and you have a nice conversation. It's very easy, and you have an end in mind, but it's the way you get there that's very fluid and relaxed, and it's just so awesome now, right, to talk to people and have that experience and confidence, as opposed to when you're new and it's like they ask questions, you're not sure if you have the right answer, and you got to go ask somebody, and it's just like very different, very contrasting. So I think the biggest difference is so enjoyable now. The process is enjoyable. Like my new quote, Mark. It's like, oh, sorry, but it's like, when we always say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But the funny thing is, you're gonna be running faster miles at the end. It's like your miles at the end are going to be faster than your miles in the beginning. So it's kind of a weird contrast. It's not a sprint. It is a marathon, but you might be doing 15-minute miles at the beginning. You're going to be doing 5-minute, 4-minute, 3-minute, and then you get down to where the automation, you're running like you're like the Flash. You're like, that's how fast your miles are going. So it's a big difference.
I love that Barry Allen reference as well.
Yeah, you get some Barry Allen, and I could see you being the Flash.
I love that show, and then of course
it is awesome.
Of course, the showrunner gets in trouble, and that's a whole mess. Anyways, but so funny because that what you said kind of reminds me of that famous quote by the Stoic philosopher Seneca: "We suffer more in imagination than we do in reality." And it's kind of like a lot of it is so much in our heads, that fear, and then once you kind of do it, like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I almost feel like that's like, everything in business and in life. It's never as bad as you thought it was going to be, right?
That's so true.
For the most part. I mean, maybe, the lines at Disneyland could be worse, but typically it's not as bad as you thought.
The action is always easier than the thought. You're right. My father used to tell me when I was younger, you spend all day thinking about something, then doing it. It's like, just do it, but you can make things. That's a huge water size of that thing.
Hey, Mark, if you're the Flash, does that mean
Mike has water bottle envy?
I don't know. I kind of picture Mark being more I forget his name. Who's the other guy that comes in that is the evil guy, right?
Zoom.
No, not Zoom. The other guy that ends up being on their side. Well, the second one's on their side. He's from the other world. That's Mark. He's the scientist, real smart. He helps.
Yeah.
But I think he had a 3-foot water bottle too.
I don't think that water bottle was 3 feet. Just saying.
For those of you not seeing what we're seeing, Mark just has a huge. It's very good. He's hydrated. I like that.
I'm staying hydrated.
It's also doing curls. You're right. I was going to
huge.
I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. For those of you in your car, you got to watch the video of my water bottle. It's legal,
the water
baby.
bill's going to be huge too. Mr. Podolsky, we noticed a lot of water consumption.
Man, it's like a Snapchat filter that doesn't quite fit the picture or something. I don't know.
You can dock your jet ski into this thing. It's so big.
Look at a reservoir in a cup. What?
Too bad nobody in Arizona has a jet ski, Mark, because there's nothing to go jet skiing there on.
All right, now now it's getting nasty. This is what I was waiting for. Scott Todd.
Oh man,
how did you feel doing your first deal?
Oh, I was scared because I had allocated a certain amount of money to land investing. I had allocated, an amount, and the very first property I was buying it from another land investor. It was 40% of my capital. It was a 40-acre property, and it had this dirt road going down the middle of it, and it was in a place that I could never even imagine go. I'd never even heard of this place before. I'm like, where even is this place and what's around? Nothing's even around there. And if this is so great, Mark, this deal is so great, this land buying stuff, why is this other guy selling it for what looks like a loss on paper? So I had all of these questions, and I was talking to him, and he was a land investor. He told me, I sold this thing on terms for a while. I got my money back out of it. I'm just looking to kind of cash out now. So I want to go do something else. And I'm like, yeah, right. Whatever. And I really had doubts about the whole process, but I had committed, like, this is what I'm going to do. And so it was almost like it's time to leap. So I kind of like mustered up the courage to write the check. And like, I did not follow the formula at all, which is, like, don't go write a check. I'm like, this guy's a land investor. It's all good. He sent me a contract. We signed it. I mailed him a check, and the check cleared. And I noticed that on Craigslist, because that's where I found it. I found it on Craigslist. I noticed that he refreshed the ad, and I dinged him. I'm like, dude, what's going on, man? I see you refreshed the ad and I thought we had a deal. What's going on? He's like, okay, calm down. I've been out of town. I haven't gone to my PO box to check on it yet. And, I just refreshed all my ads at the same time. I'm like, okay. So sure enough, he sent me a deed saying, hey, here's a copy of the deed. I'm going to get this recorded. All good. And I bought it, and then I started buying anything, right? Like I just started buying more in that area, but overcoming and buying that very first property, you got to really think through, like, what are the worst case scenarios? I mean, there's always three potential outcomes to any situation. There's the worst case scenario. There's, the scenario that's most likely to happen, or the scenario that's like, if it happened, it would be fantastic. And so that's the way, like, whenever you're dealing with fear of any kind, whether it's doing your first deal or whatever, that's kind of the mindset that I go through is, what are the three likely outcomes? What's the worst case scenario? List them out. What's the worst case scenario? Okay, I lost $4,000. Okay, that's the way it is. But like you always said, it's a piece of land, right? Like it's not like it's not like a cryptocurrency, Tate, that's just gonna vanish. It's something that's asset, like it's there. I can go touch it. I could live on it. I could hold it forever. It's not gonna disappear. So that's like what's the worst case scenario? I'm going to lose some money. Well, if you've ever done anything, I mean, no one loves losing money, but if that's your fear, maybe go lose a couple of dollars. Just like, give it to, like leave $5 somewhere. That will change your mindset about losing money. Likely that outcome was that, like, I was going to make some money on it. The phenomenal outcome would have been like, I would have been able to retire off this one property. Right. So lean into it and just do it.
Yeah. I remember when I first started, my biggest fear was kind of like what Tate said, like refunds or doing the paperwork incorrectly. And then just having to explain to my wife where the money went that we had earmarked for car repairs, right? Like, now I told her what I was going to do, and she kind of gave me the green light, but we did talk about it. She's like, well, what happens if you can't sell it? And I'm like, well, just like what Scott said, like, we've got an asset. The taxes are only $9 a year. That wouldn't hurt us. And, I could always barter with it. Like, maybe we could get free dentistry for a year, right? Something like that. And so, but that for me was my biggest fear in the process. But, I first started with a tax deed auction. So I didn't really go through the typical fear of, closing with a seller, right? I was just dealing with the county. But it was kind of crazy. Is there any current fears that you guys have right now that you kind of keep you up at night about land investing?
Mark, I would say that, the thing is that, like for me, I'm a full-time now. Right. So essentially This is my income. And so it's essentially like, man, I think about, okay, well, what will happen when the economy turns? Because it's not if, it's when, right? Like, I mean, we're all on a high right now. Life is great, but essentially we know, if you've been around long enough, it won't continue forever, and there will be a downturn. And so, I kind of think about those things. And again, I go through the three scenarios. What's the scenario? Well, I need to make sure I'm building cash for a rainy day. So what am I doing about that? Profit first, right? I follow the profit first model, which we talk about in flight school. We talk about it in accounting for land investors. We talk about it all over the place, but we talk about that piece. I think about, like, the likely scenario is that I'll lose some of my portfolio, but I still own the land, right? Like, so it's not like I've lost the land. And best case scenario is that this thing just continues to go on forever.
Right. Eric Peterson just jumped on. Eric, no nickname Peterson. We're talking about like the very first deal that you did. What was your biggest fear? So for Tate, it was like doing the paperwork correctly, and maybe having someone mad at them. For me, it was the paperwork and, a refund. And then trying to explain to my wife about just the money. For Scott, and Mike and Barely Air, it was a little bit, different, right? For you, what was your biggest fear?
For me, it was probably just more about like the interaction with the customer. That was when I got into this, that was something I was worried about, was kind of the sales aspect and having to talk to people on the phone or in person, what have you. So that was probably one of the bigger things. If the first deal that I did, if we didn't close that through title, that could have been a concern as well, just the paperwork side of it. But fortunately that buyer wanted to close through title. So, that kind of took that headache away. But yeah, I mean, that was probably the biggest thing, was just kind of the communication side of it, really.
Right. So moving on to our next topic. I think we talked about this in the last roundtable where Philip Ma was like, you guys are overwhelming us with tips of the week. Every week we're getting 6 tips of the week or 7 tips of the week. We can't keep up with them all. Go back to the basics. Give us your favorite tips or old tips, maybe one new tip of the week per month. So let's just workshop it. Tate, what should we do with tips of the week?
Yeah, I understand where Philip's coming from. I think that, ultimately we'll let our listeners decide what they like. And they're telling us right now that 6 tips of the week every week is too much. So maybe what we ought to do is just focus on, 1 tip per week. Somebody on the round table, we all rotate. Maybe we go Mike, Eric, Mike, Eric, back and forth, and we give the people what they want. They just want one solid tip. And I say we leave it up to them. We give it a little inspiration and a solid tip from Eric, a little inspiration from Mike, back and forth. It makes the most sense.
I really, really like that.
I thought you would.
And I don't know if there's going to be a better answer than that. Let's just weigh in. Bearline Aaron, is that what we should be doing?
I think that is exactly what we should be doing. And then, it would be helpful if Mark, myself, and Scott were then to like maybe critique the tip a little bit. That, just to,
I love giving quotes. I'll do them every week. Right. I'm cool. I love quotes. I'll quote every week. I'll keep quoting. I'm good. Let's do it.
Scott, what do you think we should do with the tips of the week?
I think we should just overwhelm everybody and just give everybody more tips. If they are giant tips, how do we not know that, that it's valuable, right? Like
10x
the buffet. The buffet.
Maybe we need 60 tips a week, Mark. Right. You don't have to go do them all.
You don't have
just
to go
frankly, look, we know that like mine's always good. Tate's is pretty good. Eric's is good. I'm not making comments about the rest of them.
I got a lot of support at boot camp about my tips.
Yeah, of course you would. Listen, of course, because they're going to come up to you.
I was just asking.
Yeah, of course. And then you handed them a couple bucks and told them, Scott, this guy said another one positive thing.
He must have said that at least 10 times.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember someone coming up to me at the break at boot camp and just saying, Mark, it'd be really great if you were the only one to give me the tips of the week, because based just on airtable.com, you're the only one who seems to really care.
Mark.
That's funny. That's funny.
Man, that's like the guy who was great in high school, just always living off that one pass.
At least I have that one pass to live off of.
I've got many one passes. I don't know.
This is where you pick up the water bottle. Look at that, Eric. You see
Don't
that?
make me get the water bottle out.
Well, I
Got a
got a
whole
bat
reservoir
over
in
here,
there.
man. I can
All right.
scoops it. That water bottle.
To be fair,
God's
I
cup
think
of water.
Mike Zeta, what about you? What should we do with the tips of the week? Should
Listen,
we
that everybody,
give them the full buffet?
yeah, because you know what? Everybody's going to be at a certain place, and and something's going to hit them. You never know if it's going to be a quote or it's going to be a technical tip or whatever it may be. I think everybody's in a certain spot, and wherever you are, it's going to hit you. So you don't know where they're at. If we give them one, we might help out one person. We give them 6, we're going to help out like 50 people, 100 people. I think I like it. I think it's we just keep rolling them all out.
Well, and
right.
aren't these
Sorry,
tips in the show notes?
They are in the show notes. They are. They should. Yeah, they're definitely on the show
So
notes.
if you're driving, if you can't get to them right now, you can always go back forever and look and see what they were.
Yeah, and Danielle is really cool about massaging my very fragile ego, and she'll vox me, Mark, best tip of the week this week. Way better than
She does
than
the same
Eric's.
thing to me.
Me
What?
too.
Wait a minute.
I get an email.
We could have a little e-booklet put out of tips of the week when we have after a year of these. This should be plenty.
Yeah, speaking of books, by the way, Dirt Rich is coming out. Still waiting on Eric Peterson, but it will be out in the next 60 to 90 days. I'm very excited about it. That's gonna be my tip of the week for the next like 12 weeks.
Forgot my
Is
letter.
pre-order Dirt Rich,
Man.
and then we're gonna stack the value with that. So if you order it on Amazon, we'll give you like a download link, which will take you to a special course if you want, and kind of thing like that. So it's not just the book. We're gonna stack the value and give you some options to go along with the book as well. Maybe even a mastermind weekend with just the roundtable people talking about tips of the week.
Ooh.
That would be really valuable. Eric Peterson, what should we do about the tips of the week?
Oh boy.
I think Tate's idea was good though. Mike, then Eric, then Mike, then Eric. But
Yeah. That seems completely fair. I think. It's a lot of work to come up with the tips of the week. I think most of us would agree with that. But I think that if people get value out of them, it's worth the effort. So I'm okay with whatever the community kind of decides. I mean, I'd love to hear more feedback. We know where Philip Moss stands, but what about everybody else?
you know what? I think that is the definitive answer. Is we will let everyone vote in the mastermind community on Facebook as well. Should we also open up to the official Land Geek Motivation and Wealth Creation group?
Yeah.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
say. All right, so let's put a poll up, and then we'll let the people decide. So the three options will be, everyone does a tip of the week. Only Mike and Eric do tips of the week, and then only we rotate one tip of the week. So those are the three
the buffet
options.
wins. I bet the buffet
And who gives the best tips of the week? Because it's obviously me.
No, Eric,
no
Eric,
way.
The reason we're allowing you to do more tips of the week is
make us look
people
better.
have said Eric needs some more practice. That's what they've said.
Hey, look what I just. I can just see when somebody goes like, "Hey, look what I just got on my phone." Jot Not Pro from Eric Peterson.
Hey, Eric, the reason your no nickname is because they can't select just one. They're all so good. So
it'd be too long. It'd take up the whole
Look
podcast.
at Bearland like easing everybody today instead of like lashing out like the bear 2 weeks
He's
ago.
groveling again.
I mean, like he's like sucking up.
Aaron the groveler. That's it.
Yeah, Aaron the Groveler. Everybody gets a nickname. Everybody gets a nickname.
The groveler.
Don't poke the bear, guys.
I got to tell you though, Mark, I've got 2 reasons for being late today. One is I just took deposit on a sale from a buyer's list email that went out this morning. So
Using GeekPay, I hope.
oh yeah.
Awesome.
And number 2, I was actually working on your book cover concepts this morning.
Oh, nice.
How about that?
And that you can be late every week. Absolutely. That is awesome.
Now Mark
No,
feels
he's
really
putting the hair
bad.
gel in. Come on, don't lie, Eric. You were getting the hair gel.
Oh,
Oh, Mike had to
not
take
ready.
a beautiful
I'm not
moment and
ready.
ruin it.
Not ready.
wow.
Man, that's
That
you
was
know
a
what
low
that's
blow,
like.
Mike.
That's like making a joke at the end of Old Yeller. Just this beautiful, poignant moment, and then it's like, I didn't like dogs anyway.
Wow.
All right. Well, I want to thank the listeners for putting up with us this week, and remind them the only way that we will continue doing the roundtable and providing tips or no tips is if you do us 3 little favors. You got to subscribe, you got to rate, and got to review the podcast. Send us a screenshot of that review to support@thelandgeek.com. We're going to send you for free the passive income launch kit, which is worth $97. So please do that. Also, today's podcast, again, is sponsored by tlfolio.com. Go on the site, buy a note as an investor, sell a note, get unlimited cash for more deals. We are solving every pain point in this business. Tate, are we good?
Yeah, that was perfect.
Barryland Aaron, are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
Eric, are we good?
We're good.
Mike, do you have a quote for us for this week?
Yes, well, I have a quote. Well, it's more of a thought, and I thought it would kind of relate. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's block Scott out. Hold on a second. There we go.
Is the thought stay hydrated?
I got my envelope over Scott, so now I can do this. It's like
God, Mike.
I can't. He gives me these funny looks. Gets me all nervous.
I'm still giving you funny looks even if I'm covered.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
Well, I was thinking, look at this thought, right? This
Can
is
we
true.
change the order of the screen so he can't cover Scott?
People are, you ever people kind of complain about like other people or, oh, thank you, Scott. He went dark. Complain about other people, Mark, right? Or they go out and they, in traffic, whatever, right? But the reality is life is a communal event, right? Life is, without, Eric's even gone dark, without other people out in this world, we basically have nothing. Everything you wear, everything you have is from the efforts of others, right? So I think this thought of life being a communal event is really important because it relates back to the land business and that, our community and, you're not in this by yourself. This is something that, you really need to embrace the community. We have by far one of the best communities, I think, in any kind of business model, because when you go to these boot camps, the people you meet, the intelligence, the room does get more intelligent than any individual in it. It's phenomenal. So utilize the resources, don't be shy in the Facebook groups. Don't be shy to reach out if you have a question. I'm always available. To talk about if you want to get involved in this, or so isn't Scott Bossman, just don't be afraid to, it doesn't cost you to call and ask a question, right? We're here to help and we love talking about the business. So I think the fact that it's a communal event, that there's so much to be gained from working with others, and especially those who've already done what you're looking to do. So just don't forget that. I mean, I just think that I was thinking about that today. It's really awesome, the community we have and the people involved in it and the resources available to everyone. So many people have so many different like specialties that you anything you need answered, you can find in this community. Truly.
It's really true. Our community is second to none. And Bearland Aaron, you've seen it grow and evolve. I mean, what's it like for you?
I don't know. I mean, it was. I'm trying to think of how many people there were in the community when I started. Like, not a lot. Like 100, maybe less than 100. And now, how many are there, Mark? Do you know?
I'm not a big analytics guy, but probably in the mastermind group, probably over 200 now.
Yeah, so it's at least doubled. And
I watched 300, and that's international too. We have international people that are working with us. So this is,
right.
So,
yeah, and I see new people every day, and I'll watch the Facebook and interact a little bit when people have some questions, or sometimes ask questions myself. But the response is so much bigger. There's so many more ideas out there. Sometimes I'll read a question somebody had, not necessarily comment on it, but then there's a whole list of comments below it. And, there might be a coach or two in there, but just tons of people have all these ideas on how to handle a situation. And, none of them are necessarily wrong. And it's really great to see that. And the growth of the community has really been just a blessing for everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever get caught in traffic and see how many people like on the highway, right? Then you think 300 people across the world doing this. You know how minimal that is? Like just in your own city, when you see traffic, like you're looking at like 1,000 people when you go on the highway in these major cities, and you think about the United States, it's just like our niche is so small still. 300 people across the whole world, right? And you look in your traffic in your city, and you just think there's going to be so many land deals sold this year, like right. And are you going to be one of the ones selling them, right? Are you going to get in on it? This land is selling either way. Someone's going to buy it. Someone's going to sell it. It's like, do you want to be part of it? This is a real deal, and I think it's just super exciting. That we are at the tip of of this. That's just so big, and there's only 300 of us across the whole world.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy, and. It really is. It really is. So, are we good?
Is that a good quote?
Yeah.
Very good.
Eric, you be ready for your tip of the week next week?
Oh, Eric,
We'll wait and see what the community says, right? Oh, I guess
they're going to go for the buffet.
next
I know
week
they
we're
are.
going to be in limbo still, huh? Because we won't have an answer yet.
Yeah. What do you predict is going to happen, Tate? Buffet or less is more?
I think people are going to go with the buffet. I mean, I think people want as much info as they can get, and every week the quote applies to somebody. It doesn't matter where you are in the business, it's going to apply to someone somewhere. I don't know. I think they're going to go with more. They want more.
Okay. Well, I'd say that, my tip of the week is pre-order Dirt Rich. Just email support@thelandgeek.com. And please do that.
Mark, I have a quote though.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Ready? There are 3 things that cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. The truth will come out on the tips of the week.
That's nice. You know what they like,
Nice,
though?
I like that.
More than the tips, they like us bashing each other over our tips. So they're going to want that's how we know they're going to want the tips, because they want to hear us drill into Eric, drill into.
I'm not so sure that a tip is a quote, but we'll let the community decide.
That's a separate poll.
That could be the fourth thing they vote on, right?
Is a tip
Yeah.
a quote? Is a quote a tip?
Don't. Oh man, I would be devastated if they said it wasn't. Don't do that, Mark. Don't put it. I don't want.
Mark, the
I don't
truth
want
has to come out.
I'll have
The
sun,
truth
the moon, but I don't
cannot
want
hide long.
hide that truth from me, Mark. I don't want to know.
No. I mean, you can see Scott's compassion goes in waves, right? So,
It's a sine wave.
yeah. We just got him on a dip there. It's okay.
Wow.
It's going to come
I'm
back.
compassionate.
It's gonna come back.
I
No, I
love
know.
Mike's quotes, but they may not be tips. I'm just saying.
But the quotes are what make him the Zen master.
It's true.
Okay, Aaron, we're not asking you.
Man, I don't get no respect.
Ebb and flow.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Aaron Rodney Dangerfield
All right.
Williams. Oh, no respect. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank all you guys as well for jumping on and spending time and creating all this value as well on the Roundtable podcast. So are we going to do it?
Let's do it, Mark.
1, 2, 3. Let freedom ring.
King.
It's
Not
just
that
not.
bad.
Eric, could you play that on the
I'm
guitar?
surprised that
Maybe
people
we could
didn't
do the
love
guitar.
the after chat, Mark.
We need a metronome.
I know.
Can't Eric
The after.
guitar? Well,
You know
we
what?
could-
That would be a good poll. After chat or no after chat?
Yeah, we're going to do the after chat regardless. I like the after
because-
chat.
I like the after chat too because, first of all, Tate and I need to talk about lunch. So it always
Yeah.
comes back to food. Mike just wants to talk about Eric and his guitar.
Guitar.
He's playing guitar. Playing the guitar. Airline Aaron in his hunting. He's like, yeah, just skin the cocoon.
I gotta go out and kill my lunch now.
Kill the cocoon.
That's a
The
cocoon.
possum stew.
I eat what I kill. And
man.
you know, like the cool kids have already eaten lunch, Mark. So that's the cool part.
What did you have?
Greek restaurant today.
Oh, because we talked to Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler and my wife said. I said, "What do you want?" She's like, "Let's go to the Greek restaurant." I'm like, "Let's roll."
Good.
Nice.
Good. Maybe I'll go do that.
Yeah.
I had some really good Greek the other day, like dolmadas, baba ganoush, the hummus, the chicken fillet kebab. It was like Lebanese. It was really good.
Oh, I love the baba ganoush. I love the raw kibbeh. Do you do that?
What is
It's
this?
the raw meat. It's raw.
Oh, the
Only a couple
kefta?
days a week. It's the kibbeh that's raw. So it's the raw meat. Only a couple days a week you can get it with a red onion. You dip it in with the oils, and it's raw meat. Come on, Balin, you must eat raw meat.
What is that? The botulism special in Baston?
Yeah, no,
We got to keep our
They make a
firefighters so
certain
busy.
drink
Drink,
with it.
drink with it too. It's meant to like help build your immunity. It's just a real manly thing to do, I guess.
When I come to visit, I'm going to try that.
Get them a plate of raw kibbeh.
Rock kibbe. Have you guys heard of this thing?
No?
He's
It's
making
the,
No.
it's the
Yeah.
salmonella special. We only sell
Salmonella.
it twice a week. No.
Yeah. No, I gotta cook. I've got to cook my
Alright.
stuff. I don't know.
We don't have restaurants up here.
Yeah, I mean, you got-
It's a 17-hour trip to get a restaurant.
hey, I'm going
By
to be
horse and
curing
buggy.
some bacon and a ham here pretty soon. So, got to
All right,
do it.
Well, maybe we'll have to make a trip up there, like come summer, because you
Oh,
can't
for
get
sure.
there now without a dog and pulling your sleigh.
I'll pack it in some dry ice and send
He
it to
can hire you to
everybody.
fly some supplies in, Scott.
Yeah,
It's got to be
Like
summertime.
Michael Landon on.
Are you going to get your bush pilot license
Here he
next?
comes.
No.
Here's the eagle.
The bald eagle.
I never said that.
Oh,
Who said that?
Scott
It's a-
said. I
it's a-
never said
It's a majestic creature.
the eagle with our sugar and flour.
I think this podcast has gone too far, Mark.
I agree. All
I
right,
sent you a
thanks,
link to
guys.
raw kibbeh, so check it out.
All right, I'm checking it out. Why Lebanese love their raw kibbe?
That is good stuff, you guys. That is amazing. You can have it. I know they have it where you are, Mark. They have everything in Arizona.
Hey, Scott,
They do.
I've got your back on the follically challenged part.
I know. We got to stick this thing together, man.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Through thick
That's
and
the way it
thin.
goes.
All right, on that, I'm stopping right there.
Oh.